Hi guys and welcome to my season 4 review of Sherlock. I was initially not gonna do this, but then, because I think I mentioned it in a One Piece live reaction, someone was like, hey, you could talk about Sherlock if you like watching it and you want to, and I was like, I should totally talk about Sherlock. I really want to talk about Sherlock. So here we are. Now I'm talking about Sherlock, season 4. And it's been some time since the last episode aired. I've seen it twice now because I needed to get over the emotion that I just felt watching it the first time. I was still emotional the second time, but I feel like I picked up a few more things. So yeah, here we are. And I think because I did the very stupid thing of going on social media after the episode had aired and seeing what other people thought and just seeing the amount of fucking hate the last episode got and just this season in general. Like, the first episode got a lot of hate too. Mostly everyone liked The Lying Detective, and it was definitely also my favorite episode. But everyone, I feel like 99% of all the people I've seen talk about this episode just hated it with everything they had. So I'm gonna try to not hate too much, and because I actually really enjoyed it for what it was. But the thing is, if this somehow, which I do not for the life of me believe, but if this ends up being the series finale, like there's nothing after this, I will pretend that this season doesn't exist. Because there were just so many loose ends that I would rather have had it end by season 3. Even if it doesn't make sense for it to end in season 3 either, I just feel like we got more questions and 2 answers to stuff. Like, we got Redbeard sorted out, which was the most emotional thing ever. I cried so much at the reveal, and I cried when I rewatched. That was just like a knife to the heart. That was so emotional. But I feel like we did not get enough Moriarty when that was the cliffhanger we ended off on. Molly Hooper's character was, I don't want to say underdeveloped, but I would have wanted her character to have ended in another place. And Molly Hooper isn't even one of my favorite characters, but I just feel like she deserved better. Because I really feel like for her character to end, she needs to properly get over her feelings for Sherlock, because they are just not good for her. I mean, if you ship the 2 characters, then I guess you would rather just have them hook up. But in my case, because I don't ship it, and I just think that Molly Hooper could do better than Sherlock, who just keeps hurting her feelings, she should have a better ending than what she got. I feel like there was almost no point in Rosie, which is really bad because, I mean, she's a baby, but I feel like everyone should have some sort of role, and I feel like she was mostly forgotten, and in the first episode just mostly done for some context, or just to make Jung cheating, he did cheat, let's not do that, seem a little bit worse. But I feel like, yeah, that could have been more with that. And I just feel like ending the season here, or the series here, where characters like both Mycroft and Sherlock have gotten a lot of development and are finally at a place where I feel like they could go somewhere really great, it'd be weird to end the series here. Again, if the series ends here for reasons I just wouldn't understand, I will pretend this season doesn't exist, because there was too much emotional development for Sherlock and Mycroft in the last episode for it to just end there. And I want Euros to actually have a bigger significance than what she actually ended up having, because it ended up just being emotional and revealing stuff about Sherlock's past and her funny little connection to Moriarty, which was probably it wasn't even the beginning of Moriarty and Sherlock's conflict, because Moriarty has always had his eyes on Sherlock. So yeah, and I would just really have loved to know what they talked about in those 5 minutes of unsupervised conversation, because that could be really interesting. and we didn't get any answers when it came to Moriarty and Mycroft and how much they actually work together, even if it's totally against Mycroft's will, because it totally has been, since Moriarty is out for his brother, and we all know that Mycroft loves Sherlock more than anything. But yeah, I just think that ending the series here would just be really weird, which is why I can appreciate the final problem from what it was, but I will ignore the existence of the episode if it turns out to be the last episode, because it did not deserve to be the last episode. It really did not. And also just because it came after The Lying Detective, which was just like such a good episode, it felt like story-wise it just felt a little weird. Because I have no clue how to do this, let's just go, because there are only 3 episodes, I was just gonna talk a little bit about how much I liked each episode to like make this a review-ish kind of thing. So let's start with The Six Thatchers, the first episode. I really liked an episode that was very much focused on Mary, even if it got quite obvious quite early that she was going to die. I'm also quite annoyed that we never got it confirmed, or that it was never like a thing, maybe, depending on series 5, that she worked for Moriarty, because there are a gap in her there's a gap in her life that we don't know about after Accra and before Mary Morstan. There are like 1 or 2 years that we don't know about, and we know from Magnuson that she had 1 year of freelancing, which means that after she left, or after she thought that all the other people had died, and before she actually became Mary Morstan, she had 1 year freelancing where she did some bad stuff, according to Magnuson. And I just always assumed that that's when she got in contact with Moriarty and did shady stuff with him. But she could also just not be an agent of Moriarty. Who knows? But I feel like I really like Mary, and I'm really annoyed that if this is the conclusion, that she ended up being a good person, or just like a good guy, because I wanted her to maybe be a good person who had done some really bad things that had really bad consequences. I don't know, I just really like Mary, and I really hope she worked for Moriarty. But apart from that, I really did like the story and how everything played out. I did like that she sacrificed herself for Sherlock, even, again, they're just conspiracies that she faked her death because of how fake her death looked. Which I can get behind, but I can also get behind if that was her death scene. Like, the thing with Sherlock is that we don't know anything, so it's so hard to make reviews, because I still don't know what to think of Mary. Again, if this ends up being the finale, which I just don't think it will, then she was a good person, and I can appreciate her for what she was. But if we get into season 5, and she turns out to have been a bad guy all along, and she's maybe not dead and all that stuff, then maybe my views will change on her, and she'll probably be a greater character in my eyes. But I still really liked her. I really liked her relationship with Sherlock and how they interacted. Like, no matter if she was acting or not, that was just like, their moments together were golden. It was just like amazing. So yeah, I really like The Six Thatchers. It also dragged John down from his like pedestal, because he had that weird texting affair with E, who we found out was Shiro's later. But yeah, because that goes into when what Jen and Sherlock talk about in the next episode, where Sherlock's like, maybe we're all just human, because John has always been like that hero-esque person that Sherlock always looked up to and really thought highly of, and then he did this really bad thing. So yeah, overall, Six Thatchers enjoyable. There was the letter by the end, I don't know if I've mentioned this, that John gave to Sherlock. I'm just really annoyed that they included that and never told us what was in, because they could just have not included that. I feel like that letter is going to be important going into season 5, I don't know. So yeah, I feel like I'm just rambling at this point. Let's move on to The Lying Detective. Lying Detective was definitely the best episode in my opinion. It's the one I've watched the most times, even though I shouldn't have, but I watched it like 4 times. What was his name? Culverton Smith was a really good and creepy villain. I liked how there was this, the use of erasing memories. I thought that was genius, because that means that you can't really trust all memories, which again comes back in the next episode. I really liked him. I really liked the scene where Culverton is about to kill Sherlock, and Sherlock has to say that he doesn't want to die, and then the third time he says I don't want to die, his voice just cracks, and just like Benedict Cumberbatch is such a good actor. It's just like, oh my god, that was heartbreaking. I just don't have time to get into detail with any of these episodes because they're so long and there's so much to talk about, so I'm just gonna really briefly go over these things. But generally, Lying Detective was so good, and oh my god, Mrs. Hudson, like, she's a badass. She's a badass. Oh my god. And just, John's like emotional journey in that episode was just so good because he struggled so much with like forgiving Sherlock, forgiving himself, forgiving everyone, just coming to terms with what happened, and it was just so amazing and good, and I just loved it a lot. And by the end, when he cried and Sherlock hugged him and comforted him, so good. I just, yes. And then moving into the final problem, where we have the great focus on Euros, the hidden secret sister of Mycroft and Sherlock, and then the emotional journey that Sherlock was on and Mycroft was on, and seeing the bond between Sherlock and Mycroft, and just how much Mycroft loved Sherlock and how he tried to protect him in his weird ways. That was straight in the heart. Did I mention that I cried in the final problem? Like, Mycroft trying to make Sherlock shoot him and for it to not be hard for Sherlock, and then just failing miserably because Sherlock saw through him. Damn, I cried so hard at that. It was just so emotional. Yeah, I just, final problem, like, for emotion, I just thought that was like on point. No matter how much you hate this episode, I thought the emotion was just high, and it was good. I talked about loose ends, which is like a huge part of final problem, so that does take a lot away from the episode, unfortunately, because I just feel like I have so many questions I want answers to, and the final problem just answered nothing. Like, nothing. I'm so annoyed that I didn't get any of those big questions answered, which again, if this ends up being this final, I just... No, it can't be. Yeah. But I do generally think that this can't be the end, just because I feel like we've left in a place where Sherlock and Mycroft and John are, like, they've come to terms with a few new things, so they'll be different characters, or not different characters, but they'll be stronger emotionally and just in a better place. And I know I included Mycroft in this, even though he's not a main character like John and Sherlock, but I really like Mycroft, and I think that he deserved and really needed this character development he got in this last episode, and I just really like seeing that more human side of him. Also, just like a side note, when in the beginning of the episode he pulled out the sword from the umbrella, and the reason that he has the umbrella on him all the time suddenly makes more sense, I was just like blown away. That was an amazing moment. And then he had the gun as well. Oh my god, I really like Mycroft, okay? But yeah, that was a side note. But yeah, I just really think that'd be really interesting to see the next season with where we left off with Sherlock's emotional state, because I feel like in this episode he really learned that being smart is not always the best advantage, because he saw that it ruined Euros. Mycroft messed up really badly when it came to Moriarty and Euros, and Moriarty is, well, of course, Moriarty, so being smart isn't always the best thing, and it's not always the answer, and maybe him having more emotions and just allowing himself to feel those emotions and letting emotions maybe not cloud his judgment, but influence his judgment and decisions and stuff. I feel like that could be a really interesting place for Sherlock to start off the next season with, and I would be really interested in seeing that. Seeing Sherlock allowing himself to be more human that he has allowed himself so far. Because we have seen the transition. If you go back to watch The Study in Pink and then watch A Sign of Three, like, you can just see that Sherlock has really let himself go with how much emotion that he shows and how much he shows that he cares for other people. But he still has some ways to go. And I feel like with the final problem, he's there to accept that emotions aren't bad. So I'd really love to see that, which is actually like the biggest reason why I think that there's no way this series can end here, because Sherlock ended up it's such a good place emotionally. Like, he's still like ruined, and there are all this stuff that he found out about Redbeard/Victor and Euros and all those things. But generally, also we see this with the montage in the end where he's back at Baker Street and they rebuild Baker Street and him and Jen are together. Not in that way, but they are together. And I mean, if you follow the canon, I'm pretty sure that after Mary died, Sherlock and John, in the original story, they raised Rosie together, which is kind of what I also took away from the last, the scenes, because they were together and we saw Sherlock and John holding Rosie, and just, it was really cute. But yeah, I do hear all the John Luck shippers screaming a lot. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little disappointed again if the series end here, that they did not end up together, because I feel like that could just have been, like, they could have made history, but no, Yuri and Ice did that first, and Yuri and Ice is just much better. But that's besides the point. But I just, yeah, haven't gotten really far into TJLC. I'm just, skeptical and weirded out, especially because I just feel like Mark Gatiss just wouldn't have a queer bait this strong in the show that he made. But we'll see. I still hold out for a 5th season, because I feel like that makes more sense, and I also feel like, yeah, in my head 5 seasons of all makes sense, because that's like parallel to how a Sherlock play is build up, and I don't know why they would do that, but that's a thing that I always thought, like, and just 5, it's a better number than 4, right? So yeah, I'm just rambling at this point. I don't know how much of a review this was, but then again, I have no clue how to do this, because I don't want this to be 17 hours long. We all know that I can't talk for that long. Let's say that this video was an opener for everyone who wants to discuss Sherlock. So if you want to further discuss any specific things, or a specific episode, or a specific character, you can leave a comment and we can start a fun discussion. I think that's easier, because then I won't talk about like one specific thing and then you'll be like, well, why didn't you talk about John? Why did you only talk about Sherlock, or the other way around? So yeah, comments are a great way to communicate, and we all know how much I love discussing stuff in the comments. Like, I spend so much time replying to comments, but I love it. So yeah, I'd encourage you to leave a comment if you're interested in starting a Sherlock discussion. I'd be really into that, because yeah, it'd be fun. And I guess you can leave a like and you can subscribe and all that. See, can you feel like I'm more enthusiastic about the comments than I am about all the other stuff? But yeah, I'm just gonna end off here because I'm just rambling. So until next time, guys, bye.